Hello.
Hi, friends.
Oh my God, my throat stopped working.
Whoa, goodness. Are you okay?
Started. Yeah, I'm okay.
You're right. Well, you gonna get us started or what?
Yeah. Welcome to the Tarp Report with Sam and Jess. My name is Sam Miller. Besides me is
Jess Anderson.
Yeah. We're welcome to the Tarp Report. Our sponsors are Old School Pizzeria in downtown Olympia, Bar Francis in downtown Olympia, and Deschutes River Cyclery in downtown Olympia.
Straight to business.
Yeah, I'm on it. I figure if I just knock the sponsors out right at the beginning,
that's good.
Then we can go on with whatever the hell it is we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Seems like we should be very tired of talking to each other at this point.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
How many hours did we spend in a car together in the last 3 days?
Let's see. Since Friday morning, we ate, 9 on Friday.
9.5.
How many on Saturday? Not too many.
2.
That's what, 15?
Yeah. No, 11.5, and then 8, and then 3.
Yeah. So that's
37.
A lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
in just a few short days.
Yeah.
In just a very few short days. I will say I threw up.
Mm-hmm. And you slept more than half the time in the car.
I had to.
It was pretty amazing.
I had to. I love a car nap.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I
really
tell.
do. I sleep like an angel.
You hit that shit out of the park. I've never seen anybody sleep in a car like that.
I honestly, I was like, I tried to figure it out because like I feel bad because, and this is the first time I've ever felt bad about being a car sleeper. But I think it's because I grew up in Dad was driving a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm used to like, just as soon as we start riding, I can go get in the bed of the truck or, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And
that'd be so killer.
Right. So I'm just used to, sleeping.
Yeah. No, I get it. You know, what's funny is that we'd be driving and I'd talk to you and then I wouldn't talk for about 10 minutes.
Right.
And then I'd see like a weird horse or something.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Jess, look at that weird horse.
No.
Jess.
No.
And then I'd look down and I'd be like, oh my God, in 10 minutes, you're just, and not just like dozing off, like out.
Asleep. Yeah. Like there's drool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't care because I actually like, I love traveling with you, but I told you this during it's like, I like being by myself on the road. And it's essentially like half of the time I was by myself.
Right. Yeah, you're welcome.
Maybe even more than that. Oh, that's very unprofessional. My phone.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
I thought Trey was going to be the problem.
No.
I think Trey's bowels are going to be the problem today.
Trey's got GI stuff. Everybody's kind of a mess. But just so people know, so me and Jess went down to Savage Henry Comedy Club in Eureka, California. We were talking about it. We did it.
My first time in California.
Was it your first time doing comedy in California?
Yeah. When else would I have done comedy in California?
I don't know. I thought you might have went down there to something.
No.
Right. And we were barely
in. To branch out.
Yeah, we only went an hour into California. But it still counts though.
God, it took forever. I can't imagine going further.
Yeah, it's a long way down there. Especially because you have to get off of I-5. Like that's the thing is you go down to Grants Pass and then it's like another 3.5, 4 hours to
It was a journey. It was a journey.
Yeah, and that's the fast way. And then we couldn't come back that way. We had to come along the coast because the weather, there was a bunch of snow in the mountains in California. So we had to come back up the coast. And
yeah.
But our trip started with a bang.
Oh, it started rough. Because and I'll preface it with I'm not a morning person by any stretch. And I'm also probably overextended just maybe a little bit. And Sam is, and I think we've talked about it. You are an on-time person. You like being on time.
Yeah. But I'm working on that too. Cause I think I can take that too far.
Trey, you won't believe what I did.
Trey's going to love this.
What'd you do?
I fucked up. He told me probably about 100 times he wants to leave at 5 a.m. on Friday morning.
Mm-hmm. I even told you on the podcast, I think.
Yeah. No,
we're going to leave
we're going to leave early. We're going to leave early for sure.
You need to be over to my house at 5 a.m.
I don't think he said that.
No.
I don't think he said over to my house
I said
at
that
5 a.m.
Sure.
I think he said, you know what? this is great because we can check the tape.
Yeah.
We'll check the tape and find
maybe
out.
One of our listeners will, because I don't really feel like going back through.
Are you kidding me? I think we've had like 400 listens or something like that.
That's awesome.
And I think, well, I'm about 300 of them.
Oh, nice. That's great.
I love the sound of my own voice.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
It's me.
I'm on the fence.
I'm our biggest fan. But I fucked up. I had a show in Seattle on Saturday or on Thursday. Well, there's no excuse. I overslept until 5:45.
So she was supposed to be at my house at 5, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like 5:15, and I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna message her. Maybe she's on the way.
I wasn't.
And I message her, nothing. And I wait another 15, and I call her, still nothing.
Nope, I was.
And
sleeping.
then 15 minutes later, I literally sent her a message. I was like, hey, it's 6:00. Like, I'm sorry.
I still haven't read that message.
I was like, it wasn't me.
I'm like, I can't read this.
I was like, at 6 a.m.
I think my soul felt that message come through.
I was like, I'm going. I was going to leave because it's like, Jess is important to me, and I wanted Jess to come on this tour. But the thing is like, there was already other comics on the show, and they'd probably just do more time. Like, it wouldn't have been fine for Jess. But like, me and Jess's relationship on the podcast is a lot like me and Jess's relationship in real life, where like I pull for Jess. I like Jess. I love Jess. I think Jess is great. But also like, I would have left.
Jess is flawed.
I would have left without her. Like, that's like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
So you didn't do the show?
No. So I'm like frantic. I caught 5:45. Was it 5?
It was like 55. Yeah.
Okay. 5:55. I like pop up out of bed and I call because in my dream head, in my brain, I was like, oh, well, because I know he wanted to leave early. In my head, I was thinking he's coming to pick me up, but I haven't heard from him yet. Like, and so in my brain, I haven't heard from him yet. So I'm like, oh, maybe we're going to leave a little bit later. So he's probably just letting me sleep. Like, that's so great.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then I finally like come to at like 5:45 and I'm like, oh, and I call them and it was like an absolute mess. For
it wasn't
like
a fun.
First,
I felt
like
so
30
bad
minutes. I felt terrible
because I think I actually said to you when you were talking to me, it's like
you said I think
I gotta go,
and I was like, no, I can get there. You're like, I think I gotta go. Like, no.
So I went and got gas in the car and then came back to my house, and we made it there in plenty of time, especially because we thought we had a 6 p.m. show, but the 6 p.m. show was on Saturdays, so we were actually
that was terrifying too, though.
But it was cool. We made it. It's just like I do like a little equation in my head depending on how far I have to drive for a gig. Where basically, number one, I'm going to be there an hour early before the show, right? Yeah. And then every 3 hours, I think it's every 4 hours I drive, I tack on another hour basically for like stops and stuff like that. So like if I'm driving 8 hours, I aim for 3 hours early. So the show's at 6. I want to be in Eureka at 3 basically because it's like a 9-hour drive. You see what I'm saying? Like there's like, I think about that. And so I have to work on that part. But honestly, the thing was like,
no, that was unacceptable. No, that was,
you know what was hard on me though, was I was going to feel so bad
if you left,
if I left and I had to talk and I knew you'd be so sad.
Right.
You know, but anyway, it kind of spun like, I don't know. Do you want to talk about like, it spun you out?
Oh, before we talk about this for production, I don't know if that's a booger on your cup. What is that?
Oh, no.
You got a booger on your cup? We're not cutting this out.
No, I was like, I gotta say something.
Did you wipe your nose with your cup?
I think I did.
God, that's nasty.
That was a booger, huh?
What is it? What's in your cup anyway? What is that? The whole thing's full of boogers.
It's actually what I'm drinking.
Jesus.
Oh no!
What's wrong? You don't have any boogers in your nose? Oh shit! Jess has left the building. I think this will be the clip that we'll put on.
It was a big one.
Yeah. Gee, Jess, for a tiny little lady, you sure do make some big boogers. She can't. She's gone now.
Yeah, she's gone.
It's just me and you, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jess, man, can you believe that? Hour and a half.
That's probably one of the worst feelings that you feel when you're asleep and you wake up.
Yeah.
Late.
I like how I remember episode 2 when you were like, wait, when was the one where you were like 30 minutes late?
Yeah, that was it. I woke
and
up.
Jess was like, hold my beer.
Watch this. Little cup thingies too.
It's not that bad. Just don't slam it on the table.
No, I know, but it is. Well, here,
that's bad. You're banging it on all kinds of shit.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so we were talking, you got low key like pretty spun out about that with your anxiety and whatnot.
Well, so it was a couple of that fucked me up. Like I had a full blown panic attack on like beforehand because
I didn't know about that part.
Yeah, because I
mean, I could have assumed.
Well, I was freaking out. Like I had everything ready and packed. Like I was ready to go, but not completely because I was like, oh, I'll get up in the morning and I'll find my bra. It'll be fine. And it wasn't. And then I left my phone inside. I left my vape inside. Like I didn't realize that my phone was inside until I got like halfway down the alley. So I was like, oh my, and I just know that Sam is waiting for me and I'm, I've fucked up.
Yeah.
And then also I hadn't called out of work yet. Which is another, I should have done that. Like I've known about this trip forever. It was
like an in-service day though, right?
Yeah, it was fine. But, so with that, and then, it fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah. And I knew a little bit, but I didn't know all of it. And then we get to the club and, that night
which is 9 hour, it's a 9 hour drive.
Yeah. And then the show went well, except for, this is the craziest story, dude. So like, the show, it's 7. First off, we tried to go to this other show. I call the guy that's booking.
We're on the way to the show.
30 minutes north of Eureka. And he's like, oh yeah, the show's on Saturday. So we turned back around, which was kind of nice. Cause
it was wonderful. Cause I was literally in the car, just like I'm so tight and tense from just like, and so I'm like thinking about my set and what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then Sam calls him and then the guy's like, oh, you thought that show was tonight?
It's tomorrow. Yeah, because Chris told it was tomorrow. So Chris Durant, who's the CEO, owner, and bartender, and he is Savage Henry for the most part. And if you're not familiar, Savage Henry used to be a magazine in Eureka, in like Humboldt County. It was like Humboldt County's weed and humor magazine. And then they started having a comedy festival, which led to them opening up a comedy club. And it's the first club that I've ever headlined. Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club. People think that's the first club I headlined. No. That's the biggest club I've ever headlined. But this was way bigger. This was my first, I should say. So it's a very important place to me. I love doing comedy out there. Low key, it's in the Redwoods. It's a magical place. Yeah, and it was cool. I just got to see the Redwoods. That was neat,
Yeah. They're these really big trees.
Yeah, they're really big trees.
They're really big.
I get more excited about stuff than other people. I get excited about so much stuff. I'm just an excitable kind of guy.
You really are. And I'm going to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk.
We'll talk about that more. Okay, but anyway, so that show doesn't happen. And so we're like at the club.
Thank God.
I'm taking a shit, right? I'm in the bathroom and while I'm taking a shit, all I hear is and the lights go down. And I was like, what the hell? And it turns out the power goes out on the whole block, right? And we're like, oh no, like there's no light, no nothing. And there's no way we're not going to do the show. There's already about 10 people in there. We're like, all right, we're doing it, Chris, the owner, is like, I got a generator. I'm going to run to my house. I'll be back in 30 minutes. And we're like, he's like, can you hold down? He's like, because I used to bartend. He's like, can you bartend for a little bit? And I was like, oh, sure, no problem. Sure. There's only 10 people in there. They're just drinking PBRs and stuff, right? So like, I'm in there. He leaves. 1 minute later, 15 people walk into the door, right? And they're all there's an opera house that's like a block down the street.
You just hear like heels clicking.
Yeah, and it's dark. There's an opera house like a block away. And the opera lost power too. So these people were at the opera. I guess they evacuated the opera house because with no power, they couldn't do it, And all of a sudden there's like all these people and I'm like, just help. And now it's funny knowing how anxious, like you're like.
Oh, well that was, you should have seen, yeah. that was almost okay. Like,
yeah, there's pictures online of this if you want to see it. There's a picture that Jess got of me like sitting there. There's a picture of me and Jess like bartending together, and me and Jess like bartended. And at a certain point, I morphed back into a door guy, and I was taking
100%.
tickets at the door. And then it actually went.
No, it was great. Like
really well.
we work really well behind a bar together. I was literally like, oh, behind, and just slid right back into, serving. But
I think our chemistry on the podcast, like,
helped us bartend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really great.
I was like, I'm going to talk now. And then you're like, I'm going to talk now. And then it's the same thing with handing people beer.
Yeah.
And taking money.
And well, you were literally like taking IDs, and you're like, and Jess will get you a drink.
I did do that. And it was funny. And then also a thing was a guy immediately gave us $100 bill.
Yeah, gave me
we didn't know because Chris didn't think there was going to be that many people. There was 5 people in the bar.
Yeah.
Chris didn't think there'd be all these people. But anyway, Chris gets back, like we made it. Chris gets back with the generator. They fire it up outside. We get one light and the PA on, and boom, like showtime.
Let's go.
Dark room, and it was low key a pretty magic.
It was super fun
show.
Yeah.
You had a good set. I had a good set.
The people that were there. They were dedicated. The opera people stayed until I walked them.
Yeah.
And then I heard those heels clicking again.
No. Can you break down to the people who walked then? Because I don't know either.
When you walk people, it means that they are no longer having fun and they left. They walked out.
You are wrong.
Really?
They did not leave because they did not like your comedy.
They thought they didn't think I was.
No, one of the opera ladies threw up in the bathroom.
Oh.
And then they left.
I thought you meant I got what walked.
To take accountability. You didn't make them walk. You made them vomit.
Oh, good. Even better. Yeah. Well, a response is a response.
Yeah, which is actually like a higher level.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've never had that happen
vomiting. Before. But then, so we did that. And then, Jess, you got sick that night.
Oh, I got so sick.
Anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think everything from 5 a.m. until, and also you are someone who, when he goes, and you want to stop everywhere and check everything out and walk around and frolic. Like literally he wants to stop. We stopped at 3 different beaches. Yesterday.
Well, we're still talking. Let's finish talking about Saturday.
Well, I'm saying because there was just for me, like I'm like, okay, I have 3 things that I have to do today, and I like schedule my energy like according to the things and so like how my energy was spent was like all fucked up, and so and just being anxious all day. And stressed.
On Friday?
On Friday. And then just holding my body tight.
But on Friday, we just went for it. We didn't really stop on Friday.
But I'm saying like just in general, like I don't do that many things in a day.
Yeah. And I think too, like you said, you've never done comedy in California. We talked about this.
Just all of it.
I go now, like I'm on the road a lot where I take these very long drives. I leave incredibly early.
Right. And then you take good long breaks.
And I take breaks. I do yoga. I take walks. I'll check
Flies
stuff out.
Kite.
I'll talk to people. I was flying a kite. I have a really trick ass kite.
Not even like I'm not kidding you, Trey. Like he's like, oh, but first we have to stop at the kite store.
The kite store.
I need a new string because I break, dude. I have like a kite. It's like a performance. Like it's a parafoil. It's like it's almost like one of those kites they use to pull themselves on the boards. And like I'll fly it when it's too windy and I'll break strings because like when you fly it, it's like a fighter plane, dude. It goes so fast. You can hurt people. You can cut people. It looked
like I thought about like going down and like ask it, like trying to do it, but I was like, oh no, because I could just do like take somebody's like.
That was not. It was pretty windy, and it wouldn't have been a good day to learn how to fly a kite. I'll let you fly sometime.
But no. So I ended up vomiting for pretty much the entire all of Friday night. which was not great.
And then you slept all of Saturday.
Yes, but Saturday morning, Sam got me soup and took out my nasty vomit trash, which I thought was very very thoughtful.
Where and how did you throw it? Like in the car?
No.
Yeah.
We were at the spot and where we were staying at and
and into the trash can. Yeah.
So Jess was upstairs. I was coming upstairs to check on Jess and but I was also doing my own thing, man. Like, you know what's funny? I don't know if you know, so Eureka's right by Arcata, and like I've performed here a lot. And like Saturday morning there's a farmer's market and they have like little food trucks and stuff, and Arcata is like a beautiful little town. And I went to Arcata and ate some really good food. And my thing, like, I was worried about Jess, but also like I don't like Jess doesn't need me to like baby her. Like I got her soup and I was worried that there might be something else going on. But if Jess tells me, she's like, no, I threw up because I was anxious. I'm like, well, Jess threw up because she's anxious. Yeah. And me like harping on her is not going to help that shit, you know.
It won't make me less anxious.
You know. So I thought overall like the trip was good.
After I was done, after the throwing up bit, and I slept a good bit of Saturday, I was totally fine.
Yeah.
But I just needed to relax a little bit.
Yeah. And then Saturday night, the shows were great. And
they were awesome. We had 2 shows on Saturday.
Yeah, we did one in Scotia, which was like 30 minutes. Cool the show that we thought was on Friday at this cool hotel. There was a drunk heckler lady
who tipped us $100. So it's like,
but she tipped us $100 in gift cards, which was weird.
Yeah.
To where?
To the place.
Hotel.
And we could have gotten food with them, right? But we had to go because we had the show in Eureka. So we each had a $25 gift card. So I got Brittany a water bottle at the little store. And you got a water bottle.
I did too.
Yeah.
I got it for me, not Brittany.
Yeah. Because my wife loves water bottles. She has like
Did you give it to her yet?
Bottles. Yeah.
She loved it.
Yeah, but I think
you oversold it a little bit last night.
I did.
He was like, I got you this amazing thing. And I was like, oh, she's really going to think it's something great.
I probably talk to Brittany when I'm on the road. I talk to her like 2 or 3 times a day on the Bluetooth. Like not too much, but enough.
No, you guys talk.
Yeah.
Well, no. You talk the perfect amount.
I miss them. And it was hard too on Sunday because like we did that show. And I'm not going to talk too much about it, but some stuff went sideways at that show on Sunday. And it was like a venue that perhaps wasn't all the way bought in on comedy. I'm saying that as nice as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a weird set. But you know what's funny is people come up to me after the show and they're like, oh, that was great. So you're amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I felt weird the whole time. And they're like, I would never know.
Yeah.
Like it's funny when you get good enough at comedy, even when you're in your head about like your own performance, like people
still do well.
And then I got home at a little bit before midnight.
Yeah.
And
I went and got gas and some McDonald's.
Oh, I bet that was slamming.
It was really good.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, and got home probably about 12:30.
Yeah, and we talked a lot. Bad. So me and Jess, it's interesting because we talk on the podcast about some heavy stuff and we talk about some funny stuff. But I think last night, like that conversation got really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And, after that show, and like I was talking about some of my mental health stuff that I still have, and that I don't talk to a lot of people about that. So that made me happy because I got to get that off my chest.
Yeah. Do you want to be vague about it, or do you want to?
We can talk about it. We can talk about it. That I have. I've been sober for 14 years now, and there were times, especially in my early sobriety, where I really wanted to harm. I thought about harming myself, and like I've always had this life that is it's up and down, But it was weird because like when you use methamphetamine, the way I was, especially towards the end, it's like, oh man, like some days I'm so excited, and then other days I'm so tired and sad. And it's like, yeah, I'm excited because I'm doing a bunch of crystal and shit, and I'm like running around being weird on these missions that nobody understands, And then other days when I'm off, I'm just out. And when I got sober, I thought, okay, I'm not doing crystal no more. I should be good. But that's not the way it worked out. And that's still not the way it works out.
Mm-mm.
But I have way more good days than bad days and more good times than bad times. And I think what happens now is now that I've essentially become like a public figure, at least in Olympia, like people know who I am.
Yeah.
And on social media, especially, like there's certain things like I try to be honest and like let people know that, hey, like, not all that glitters is gold. You know what I mean? Like the shit sucks sometimes. And
well, I think that's a hard lesson that you learn, and it's good to learn early. That shit happens in sobriety too.
Yeah.
And you still have to you still make mistakes, which is like,
And I think, it's weird. The conversation actually started when we started talking about heavy stuff is that I was checking in on you.
Mm-hmm.
Is how it started because I'll straight up ask people.
Yeah.
Like I learned that, like, it's probably because I was I worked with unhoused youth for a long time and people would really tell stuff. I'll be like, hey, like, I'm like, do you think about hurting yourself? Like, I
think those were his exact words. I'm like, I don't
but Jess was doing good. So we checked in and then I talked about how like, my situation is that, a lot of times when I do get real down, that I'm lucky enough to have like, a practice where I do some visualization. I think about me and my kid at the river and, I usually turn it around and I still get really sad, but it doesn't feel permanent anymore. Like it used to be a thing. Like I wish, depression is this weird thing where, or like, I shouldn't say depression because that's more like a clinical word, and I do not meet the specifications of someone who's depressed. But it doesn't just exist. It's not just a feeling of like, I am sad right now. If that was it, if it's just right now, it's like, okay, I'm going to feel better. But what happens is that when I would get sad, it felt like I was never going to be happy again. Like that's what it was. It's like, it's not so much the feeling in the moment. It's that I feel like the feeling was never going to change, and that recovery has changed that in my life, that I now know that, when I feel that bad, that
it'll get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes me a minute though to be on that shit. So yeah. But anyway, it was a great trip. I regret nothing.
No, I think one of the biggest, you have where I'm still doing my 9 to 5. And so it's, there's still that added, pressure.
This is what's crazy is that you have to work harder at comedy than I do.
Yeah.
Because I have time off.
I have 40 less hours.
Yeah. You're working 40 less hours a week. Like I probably spend, if you count in all the driving, all the shows, all the rigmarole on social media, I probably work 40 hours a week, maybe even a little bit more.
100%. Yeah.
But I'm not working 40 hours and then doing whatever the hell it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about it a little bit and we can talk about it a little bit here. It's like whether that output is sustainable.
Yeah. Or well, it's not. That's what the vomiting was for. It's telling me that it's not sustainable and things need to be, you need to tweak it just a little bit.
Friday morning, I'm like waiting for you.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I saw, it's like, okay, there's Jess, you're on your Instagram. It's like, there's a picture of you in Seattle at like what, 10:30.
And we had a show with Susan Rice.
Damn. And see, that's the thing is that I thought I had a show in Seattle on Thursday. I thought I was going to be in Magnolia, but I had the wrong day. It's actually next month.
Yeah.
But I would be okay. Right. Because it's like,
right.
I know that, what's funny is today I'm going to get a bunch of stuff done. I have a bunch of shit I got to do today. But you know what? Tomorrow, I think I'm going to dick the dog. I ain't going to do nothing.
I wouldn't. Don't have sex with the dog.
No, that's just a phrase.
Don't have sex with the dog.
Isn't that a horrible phrase? I shouldn't use that. Have you ever heard that before?
I've never heard that.
Really? People say that I'm going to dick the dog. I don't think it has anything to do with like a dog. I think it's just like a phrase. I don't want to look it up. Maybe I'll stop saying it.
I would. Stop saying it. Stop saying it. Don't say it anymore.
No, people say that shit for real. I'm not a weirdo. I'm not. Anyway. Okay. We're back.
Where are we at?
We're back. I want to talk about this. This is cool. I've had some success online with like videos and stuff, and people come out to my shows to see me. And man, I have the spiciest fan base. I'm really into it.
Really?
So a lot of people in recovery have found me online, and they've been coming to shows.
Yeah.
And a lot of those folks in Scotia, they had seen me online, and that's pretty neat. That's a new thing. I like it when people in recovery come to my shows, and then after the show, they're like, "Oh yeah, I got like 6 years, or I got like 8 years, or I got even better." Is like when they're like, "Yo, I got 3 months. This is the first thing I've done. Like I haven't been back in a bar since then," and that kind of weirds me out because I'm like, "Oh man, like don't put yourself in a position where you're gonna want to drink." But they're usually with other people in recovery. It's like a group activity, you know? So that happened on Friday night. That was really special. That group of 4 folks. You know?
That was nice.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the, like, you are very good about, just talking to people.
Yeah.
And then not only that, like he finds out that they're in recovery. He finds out what meeting they go to. And then Saturday morning, he's going to a meeting with them.
Yeah.
Like he's literally,
we can't talk about all of that. We're going to say, so I am in a recovery program, but like I am going to protect my anonymity and whatnot. So like, yeah, I go to meetings and I see people there and stuff like that. I guess is the most I've talked about is on this podcast. I don't know. Cause like, anonymity is tricky for me.
Do you feel like that was too, like you shouldn't, I shouldn't say that?
I don't know. It's okay. I'm actually okay with it. Just
that's
to
what
say,
people in recovery.
no, I can say like I am in a recovery program. I don't want to say which one, but I can say that I'm in recovery and that I go to meetings and that it works for me. I don't push it on anybody else. It's kind of like my thing. If people want to talk to me about it, they can, like outside of like.
No, he didn't twist their arm.
Because this is this is like radio, like press, radio, and films, and so I am careful with it. And other people have different levels, and honestly, it's none of my business what anybody else does. But I am kind of careful with it, and it's not so much to protect me; it's to protect the recovery program because. There's people that don't like me and I make bad decisions sometimes. And I don't want somebody to see me making a bad decision and be like, oh, that's why I'm not going to like a recovery program. It's like it's Sam. He's like, you're fucking up. Yeah, that's my thing. So, but anyway, I want to talk about this. So episode 3, we did a bonus episode. So right now, this is episode 6.
Yeah.
We're recording.
Yep.
Episode 3 went up with my mom, and I gotta say, like, I was a little uncomfortable having her in here, but like, I think it's pretty slamming. It seems like a good episode.
I thought it was a great episode.
Trey, what do you think?
Her voice, when I was mixing it, sounds I don't know. It's a good voice to listen to.
It's Ohio. It's that Ohio.
That was a good episode, though. It's a good episode.
Yeah,
that's good.
I thought it was sweet. I think people will really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think, we put up episode 2 with the video, which I really love, which Trey did a fantastic job on.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. No, Trey, you've really
grown.
Yeah. I mean, you set the bar pretty low by being that late that one time. Was that the first episode?
No, it was the second. Jess was 30 minutes late for the first episode.
Okay, it was like literally.
Oh, Jess was late, and you were late for the second
episode.
And we were both kind of late today.
Yeah, that was my fault.
I was here.
Because I had to pick you up.
Mm-hmm. I was here.
Yeah, because Trey had some car troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blew up.
Mm.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Suzanne.
Yeah, old Suzanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a toy.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
06 Corolla broke down at midnight yesterday.
Yeah, you don't care if I talk about it.
No, I don't.
Because me and Trey, me and Jess were like, oh, we should remind Trey that we're recording tomorrow. You know, we didn't know what you had going on. And
Thank God you did, by the way.
Yeah, Jess just called you, right? And Trey was like, man, my car just broke down I'm in the hood too.
And gunshots were going off.
Yeah, dude.
Close by.
Where were you?
Off the 76 right here by on Steely. Yeah, and I broke down passing a light, and I just had to get out of my car and like wrap the seatbelt around my like chest and like just plug it in again and just like basically just pull my car. Yeah.
But we got you. I'm going to go. Let's go eat Korean food after this. I'll take you home.
Yeah, I'm down.
Does that sound good? I'm going to get you lunch.
Really
okay.
sweet.
Because you did good. Wait, what was that noise you just made?
Arre, A-R-R-E.
What does that mean?
It means like, all right. Like, alrighty then.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah. God, I'm learning so much.
Yeah, look at that what the youth are saying.
Yeah.
The youth.
Maybe we should have that. Oh, I thought it was.
That's not a young person thing. It's a Mexican
that was
thing.
He said it was all right. Okay.
You really sounded like you're from West Virginia there for a minute.
Well, I mean, I am.
I know.
So
that was awesome. I'm so proud of you right now.
Thank you.
So episode 3, we did a bonus episode. I thought it was a good idea. And also, hey, we asked people. I want to do this too.
Yeah.
We have some questions from fans, which is weird to say, but a lot of these are friends of mine.
That we have fans?
Well, they're mostly friends.
Friends and fans.
So somebody said, I want to hear my friend Forrest Denver, who's a very interesting comedian, runs these pun shows. I love Forrest. She goes, I want to hear the backstory of how y'all met. You teased it. How we met.
How we officially met?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
There's a reason why we teased it is I don't know how comfortable we are. Actually, no, we can't all the way talk about it.
No.
Because
absolutely
that sounds spicy.
It's not. It's not. It's not. It's like,
we have a mutual, we have a friend who reached out on my behalf to Sam.
Yeah.
This person who I confided in and said that he asked me, what I wanted to do with my life. And I was like, truthfully, this was before I had started doing anything. I was like, honestly, I want to do comedy. And so he was like, well, you should do that. And then he was like, oh, I know this guy, Sam Miller, he does comedy in Olympia. And so then
and I got a message. I got a message from a fella, and I'm not gonna say his name. It was fine, but it was I was confused because I was I used to run a comedy show, and I have agents reach out to me, and I was like, oh, this is an agent, and I was like, well, hey, all I need is a video, and I'll see what I can do, because I'll watch if people send me videos, I'll watch them,
and then
but I can't get people stuff they're not ready for, and I watched the video and it was okay. I can't remember. It's kind of an older video. I think it was one of your first
probably
sets.
The worst. Yeah.
But then it's funny because I was like, oh, whatever, that's that. And then we actually met here at Nate Jackson's.
Yes.
You went up on stage and I'm like, oh, that's that girl that that dude messaged me about.
Did you remember me from the email?
Not really.
Okay, that's better.
All that stuff. Well, no, I remembered. I knew that you were the person that
he had emailed about. Okay.
And I knew that it made you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was at least I'm going to talk to her so it's not weird, so she doesn't think that I'm uncomfortable, because I don't really give a shit. I'm a very...
Because basically he was just trying to vouch for me.
Yeah. It wasn't weird. But anyway, that's how we met. We met at Nate Jackson's.
But then, then we officially met here one night, and it was there was
you had a decent set that night.
There wasn't a lot of people here. No, that was the night that there was a
lot of comics.
40 comics here.
Yeah.
And because I wrote about it in my journal. And Sam came up and he was like, oh, you think you're funny? And I was like, well, yeah.
But yeah, that's how we met. She also wants to know, how do we both work clubs around alcohol and don't drink? I've never had an issue with it. If I got a reason to be there, I got a reason to be there.
Yeah. I just know I don't drink.
Yeah. I like it when I'm at an awful bar somewhere doing a show and people will be like, isn't it hard to be here and not drink? And I'm like, no. I always tell folks, man, if I was going to relapse, it wouldn't be in Malala, Oregon, or...
there's nothing so bad that drinking won't make it worse for me.
Exactly.
So.
So basically, that's the thing. Relationship advice, honesty, but mostly with yourself.
Relationship, communicate, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's my thing is honesty. You got to be honest with yourself. If you go into a relationship with and you're not being honest with yourself about why you're in that relationship or why you want to be in that relationship, then that relationship isn't going to work.
Communication. Right, Trey?
Oh my God.
Is anyone listening to me?
No. Fuckers. Yeah.
You saw me just staring.
Yeah. Andrew White asked me, how did you sleep? Read into this question, please. I don't know. I slept all right. I
slept fine.
Talking about. This is a long time ago. This is 6
Do
days
I sleep
ago.
well at night, like in general?
Yeah.
Or is he talking about your sleep?
The sleep study, maybe.
The sleep study, yeah, which you bombed. You failed.
Oh, yeah. I got sleep apnea.
Big time.
I was on.
He's got all the apnea.
We were on Bluetooth. I got both kinds of sleep apnea.
Wait, that was from the test that you just took?
Yeah.
Like you just found out?
Yeah.
So you're about to get a CPAP?
Yeah, I have to go back in.
He's got to go back again and do the sleep test with the.
Yeah. They said that in an hour, I averaged, 22.6?
Times that he stopped breathing.
22.6 times an hour I stopped breathing. And that my oxygen went under, it was like at 85 for a while. And that's really not good. So
that's just a normal night for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might have actually been a good night. It might be worse.
He was actually dreaming.
Yeah.
He was in REM sleep.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, how did you sleep? Now I get it. That's why. Yes, that's about the sleep study. Yeah, because last time we recorded,
you got to start. You got to.
It
It might not be a bad idea for you to listen to the podcast.
I was looking at the next question.
Just as a refresher.
I listen to you a lot, and I'm not into it anymore.
I hear you.
Yeah, I get it. You're anxious. What else is going on?
We've heard that. We've heard that song and dance. My God, grow up.
Yeah, it wasn't as messed up, man. I was going in on Jess on the way up there. I said something about, oh my God, look, they're calling me now.
They keep calling.
I am picking it up on the podcast. I will. Is it?
This is a message from Innovative Sleep Centers.
Well, you have to call them.
An important message for Sam. Our records indicate that it is time to schedule your appointment with our office. Please contact our office to schedule this appointment. As always, your help is very important to us, and we look forward to scheduling your appointment soon. To replay these instructions, please press 9 on your...
I was really hoping it was going to be an actual person.
Yeah, I think they called 5 times on Friday. That's how concerned they were. They just kept handing them because he hasn't scheduled his next appointment. They just kept handing the file to the next person. I'm going to do it
after this. My first thing, I had to pick up Trey because his car doesn't work, and then I had to come podcast, and then I got to do some other stuff.
Mm-hmm, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be so tough to be busy.
Yeah, it is tough.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I hear you.
I really don't want to do it.
I know. I have to go.
You know what? I might make today my day off. I might just have to do the bare minimum, and we'll just go eat Korean food, and I'll take you back to your house.
I want to do that
every night
after
your study, technically you're
dying.
You're dying 22 point something times. That's once.
No, when you stop breathing, it doesn't mean you're dying.
It just means
when you hold your breath when you go underwater in a pool, you're not dying. Mm-hmm. You're just having fun. And that's what I'm doing every night. I have fun every 22.6.
No, you're working on holding your breath.
Yeah, maybe I'm dreaming about seeing if I can swim. Maybe I'm pretending to be a
well, you do have that dream of being
skin diving.
A swimmer.
Yeah, no, skin diving is when they don't use sex.
Skin diving.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the appointment. Okay, so thanks, Andrew, for reminding me that my fucking body doesn't work anymore.
Thanks. No, but honestly, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
What a great question.
Lily Leader Williams asks, were either of you interested in comedy before you started dealing with substance issues? No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I watched some stand-up, but I wasn't super into it. I got into stand-up because of recovery. People in recovery meetings told me that I should do stand-up, and that's how I started. And then,
really?
And I thought I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't really want to do that. Huh. There was other stuff. I did some storytelling shows, and I don't know. That's weird. Was it more of a kind of therapy after you decided to get sober? There is parts of comedy that I think are therapeutic, but comedy is not therapy. Therapy is therapy. And there's a lot, I've talked about this on the podcast before, I think. There's a lot of comedians I know that think that comedy is their therapy, and I can't be around them because it's Yeah. They're like, comedy's my therapy. And I'm like, you have 3 divorces and you're doing an 8-ball every night. Like, it's not your therapy.
Well, unless you have my therapist. Then,
yeah, unless you have
that I'm doing
therapist.
comedy at my therapist's office.
Yeah, just runs bits past your therapist.
She thinks I'm hilarious.
You are hilarious. I bet it's fun being your therapist.
Well, she can't control herself.
Why did you decide to do a podcast together? We were driving back from Salem, and I was thinking about, we were just having a good conversation, and I was like, I had gotten to know you pretty well, and I thought it would be good.
Yeah, just thought it would be a good idea. Well, and everybody, and it's also a thing we say, like, oh, we should do a podcast. Mm-hmm. Like, rarely does it, like, do we, actually do it.
Yeah.
So we really did it.
What are our goals with it? And
not to embarrass myself.
Yo, somebody's knocking.
Who is it?
I don't know.
It's a little early for a comedy show.
I wonder what's going on. That was weird.
Wait, what was the question?
I wonder if they heard that knock on the thing.
Yeah,
I really
could
wonder who it is.
Bit.
This has been a fun episode.
Huh. And is that the phone?
No, that's the door opening up.
You got to come back at 7 p.m. Who is coming to?
I'm not. My show's not tonight. My show's tomorrow in Tacoma.
I know. I'm talking about who is at the door.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. This is a good question. What are our goals with it?
Not to fuck up. Not to embarrass myself.
I don't know. I don't really look at stuff like that. My goal with this is like, I'm already accomplishing the goal because I'm enjoying it.
I didn't really like think about like what the goal would be other than, we said we were going to do it and then doing it. That's the goal. The goal was to start a podcast. Now we're podcasting.
I want people to listen to it. And I guess the goal would be is to kind of add it to that, like my artistic output,
right?
And that it'll build up the other things and the other things will build up this. Like, I think the stuff grows exponentially. Like I'm doing the book thing.
Right.
I'm doing the podcast. I'm making videos online and I'm performing a lot of comedy shows.
Checking all the boxes.
Yeah. I think my goal with this podcast and my goal with everything is to keep finding that balance though. So I'm not overextended,
Wow. Shots fired.
Yeah. Well, it's not. You can figure that out. I mean, this isn't a question, but somebody said they loved they love your impression of me.
Ooh, that's good. And you literally said that it was a bad impression. So
no.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, I think it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I like that I talk like this and then routinely I just lean back in my chair and laugh like that.
Yeah.
I think people are used to my laughing, that I don't do it into the mic. I don't want to know if I want to mess with this one. Most awkward moments you've experienced doing comedy. This is Kelly Fimiano, who I think was one of my kids' teachers one time.
Oh, fun.
Most awkward moments you've experienced doing comedy.
Oh.
You know what I'm going to do, actually? We'll talk about it. Go first.
Being introduced as fuckable.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never did that.
I got introduced on stage as "You're gonna love her," or "You're really gonna want to fuck her."
Yeah, that was
Jess Anderson. So that was probably the most awkward.
Comedy is, it's better than it used to be.
Awful sometimes. We don't have to.
Still really awful. A lot of times, especially for women. People always want to do this thing, man. I'm going to talk about this shit real quick. And they're like, PC culture, it's destroying comedy. No, that's not it. Like, comedy is destroying comedy. Comedians are destroying comedy. Producers are destroying comedy. Like, the culture of and I like that. We talked about it last episode. It's like changing that word from cancel culture to consequence culture. Do I think it's gone too far in certain instances? Sure. Do I think it hasn't gone far enough? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. You think about some of these cats that get canceled or whatever, and you hear about what they did, and it's like, oh yeah, that's really messed up, So whatever. Yeah, that was bullshit. I wish you didn't have to deal with that.
That's okay.
The most awkward moment for me. When I was 6 months in, I actually opened for Gary Gulman, who's a very famous comedian. at Evergreen State College, and I bombed for 15 minutes. I just ate shit. It's the hardest I've ever bombed. You know what's messed up? I know this
is the one with your mom was there, right?
Yeah, my mom was there.
Yeah.
I'll tell the whole story another day.
We already told us.
Oh, did I? Okay, yeah.
We talked about it with your mom.
Oh, we talked about it on the podcast. Yeah,
the
so that was
went down your thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great. I'm glad that's on.
Oh, there. Good. We can just edit that in.
How do you teach comedy to your kids?
By being funny.
Yeah, I have. Now, this is interesting. Do you have boundaries like can't make fun of Mary or can't joke about race? I do have jokes about race, but I do them from the perspective of me. Like, I don't talk about, I don't get out of pocket. I stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to talk about what it's like to be a black man in America because I'm not a black man in America. I'm not going to talk about what it's like to be a woman in America because I'm not a woman in America. I'll talk about how I relate to women and how I relate to black folks and stuff like that. But that's from my perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, that drunk lady got mad at me because what did I say? It was so dumb. I just made a joke about the show.
It wasn't even a joke. It was just kind of
I said that there's like, it was funny because like that show on Saturday in Scotia, there was a lot of different kinds of white people. And I thought it was funny. I was like, this is a very diverse group of only white people. Yeah. You know, and a lady was like,
not happy about that.
Don't do that. Don't start talking about that. And I'm like, don't talk about how there's like pretty much only white people in here. Like, I can't say that. Like literally just saying what's going on. It's so stupid.
Yeah, she wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, I think she was embarrassed because I think she's like, everybody's the same. Everybody's one person.
She was very intoxicated.
Everybody's not the same. You're hammered.
She was like, I'm listening. And I'm like, prove it. Show me. I want you to show me. She's the one who got
us the gift cards.
Yeah. She seemed like a nice lady. She was just, they said her husband died 10 years ago.
3 years ago.
So she's really distraught.
Yeah, 3 years ago. He must have been a very patient man. I just listened while eating tacos from our favorite taco joint, and who also happens to serve Korean food. Really enjoyed the pots. Oh, well, this is not a question. That's not a question. It's just people saying that they liked hearing us talk.
Well, that's food. Nice.
Here we go. This is a question for Jess that's about me, so I love it. Okay. What is one or two of the funniest things Sam has done on one of your road trips? One or two of the funniest things? Yeah.
I don't know if like the funniest, I'm not sure. I think it's just his like sense of wonder. Like literally like just I'm not kidding, like just watching him fly a kite on the beach like a child.
I get really into it. I'm pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I fly it. It goes really fast. I fly it right at the ground and I try to pull it up at the last minute. And like the stakes are high.
Especially when there are little kids around.
Yeah. I'll fly it really close to the ground and I'll scrape the wing on the sand and then pull it up. And you have to be careful because if you put the wing too far in the sand, like it'll crash, but like it's tight. And I make little like things and then it's so fun. I want to go fly my kite right now.
Yeah, see.
That's gonna happen. Real quick, I should do this again. Sponsors, once again, our sponsors for the Tarp Report with Sam and Jess. Wonderful sponsors.
Awesome.
Old School Pizzeria, Bar Francis, and Deschutes River Cyclery. All right there in downtown Olympia. Please, please, please support them.
Go check them out.
And I think it's time
Dun, da, da, da.
for jokes. Trey, are you ready? You need to tell jokes today, okay?
All right.
Wait, he's doing stuff. Did we lose video for a minute? No. Okay, good. Good job, Trey.
Every 30 minutes that the camera's time out.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Jess.
Yep.
I wrote, you want to do number one?
Sure.
Okay. These are jokes that I wrote. Okay. 10 jokes thereabouts that I wrote.
Okay. I hate it when I'm out to eat and the bathroom is upstairs from the restaurant. Like the poop is going down there anyway. Why do you make me come up here?
That really happened at the venue.
Yeah, the bathroom was.
Here. You guys just, why did you pass it to me? Just pass it back.
Okay, because last time you wanted me to pass it back to you before I passed it to Trey.
No.
When I got expelled from high school, it was at least partially due to low attendance. I was like, thanks, guys.
That is true. They said that in the paperwork that it was like, how you get expelled for low attendance? I was like, now you're just doing my job for me. Like I wasn't coming anyway.
I hate those cushioned toilet seats. I fall asleep on those way more. I fall asleep on those way more.
You know, they have, you know what I'm talking about?
Those
I know what you're
cushions,
talking
yeah,
about.
The joke is that I fall
like,
asleep on the toilet a lot, but
yeah.
the cushion one's more, and I shouldn't
Obviously.
be falling asleep on the toilet at all.
Yeah.
I've never actually fallen asleep on the toilet. I just thought it was funny.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew a dude who I didn't know him like that, but he lost his legs because he fell asleep on
Damn.
the toilet.
Are you sure?
And it cut off his circulation?
Yeah, I think
He had to cut off his circulation and his legs.
He OD'd?
Yeah, I mean he survived.
He was high, huh?
Yeah, he was
Super high.
yeah.
Damn.
I hate those. Oh no, I was about to say the same cushion. Sometimes when I get bored, I'll sneeze. Like, thank God, at least it's something.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I thought these were better.
Yeah.
They're getting good.
Good.
Number 5. If you ever went back in time to like caveman time, man, just bring a Bic lighter. You would be popular.
Yeah, it's not really a joke.
Number 6.
I had a cellmate one time. He told me that you can catch a buzz if you drink diesel mixed with milk. He probably gave me good advice after that, but honestly, after the diesel and milk thing, I kind of rode them off completely.
Yeah.
You ever have somebody do that when they give you good advice, but they start out with some bad advice, and then you write off the good advice?
Yeah.
That guy, for real, man. I was in Yakima jail. He was like, you know that you can make diesel and milk and drink it. And I was like, bro, I don't know if you're like fucking with me or not, but either way, like I think I'm done with you too.
Number 7. People love caterpillars because they turn into butterflies. They always use it as an analogy, like you'll be a butterfly someday. I actually think caterpillars are pretty badass, so it doesn't matter to me. I like you just the way you are, caterpillar. You don't need to change.
Yeah, I like you just the way you are, caterpillar.
you
That's a
need to
better way to
change.
do that joke. That was my last one.
It's weird that they call it urine. Shouldn't it be you're out?
Yeah, that's true.
You ever think about that?
That's the last one.
I've never thought about that.
But I'm right though, huh? Because it's coming out.
You're out.
Yeah, you're in would be if the pee went into your dick.
Okay. Gross.
Yeah.
I feel like every
You're out.
episode we need to have a moment like that.
Oh, where it just goes downhill.
No, I gotta talk about dick. Okay. All right. A thing that I know now that I didn't know before. There is a bird in Australia, a ground-dwelling bird called the lyrebird. Okay, and it's a mimic, so it mimics stuff, but it mimics like chainsaws and stuff like that. And that's a thing that I know now, and I really want to find clips of lyrebirds.
There's one in the zoos. It's crazy because they'll remember what people tell their kids, or like they'll even mimic like barking noises and stuff like that, or they'll like, I don't know, like parents telling their kids like stop crying, or like they'll even like mimic babies crying too. It's
I've heard too that they'll do cell phone ringtones like that, like the iTunes, the Apple
So it's a
one.
parrot?
That you know what I mean? They'll do that, yeah.
So it's a parrot.
No, it's better than a parrot.
He has like a memory bank of just sounds. Like he doesn't try to communicate. Well, I mean, he communicates, but
Yeah,
he
that's literally what he's doing.
He's recording all the time though.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's better than a.
Can I? Can you say one of my jokes?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Jess tried to do some jokes. All
I've
right.
got one.
You got one?
Okay, and I want.
We were
you to
working on
read
this
it.
last night. Late at night, we were driving back, and we were like bored. And like Jess was like, I want to like write one-liners.
I wanna
And I was like,
try.
then write one-liners. And we were like writing one-liners, and some of them were all right.
Okay.
You ready?
This one right here.
This is
The one that's
Jess's
marked number
joke.
1.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. Being in the military isn't that hard unless you don't know your left from your left, right, left. Good job, Jess. That was
Is that
good.
pretty good? I wrote that while you guys.
Wait, there's
while I was
another one
saying
that
it.
you're working on here.
Oh, I have a whole bunch, but
Being in the military isn't that tough. Oh, unless green isn't your color.
unless green isn't your color. Yeah.
That first one was good.
Well, I didn't. First of all, I told you to read number 1 and number 1 only, and then you started reading whatever you want.
Well,
What
why
about-
didn't you erase it?
Because this is on my personal.
Edit.
I also did. I love being under the night sky.
Oh, this was so funny.
It's so dark and mysterious, and people can't see me digging through their trash.
Oh, that's good. Because that was
better?
So we were doing like topics, and I said you had to write a joke about the night sky. And the first joke she did was not about the night sky. It was about night in general. And I was like, that's cheating. But then she wrote this joke that I thought was so funny. She was like, I love being under the night sky. It's beautiful. And then she was like, I'd also love being under Vin Diesel.
You know what's better?
Is that like your most attractive celebrity?
No, I have no idea why I said Vin Diesel. It's just the only celebrity that I could think of because Fast and the Furious is always playing at my house.
I think sleeping with Vin Diesel would be fun, but you'd want him to be in the driver's seat.
I feel like he sweats a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like his sweat probably smells like chemicals too.
I bet he says like cool stuff all the time.
yeah. So here we go.
Yeah. You're like, we're just going to Target. Like,
that'd be a weird thing to say during sex. Just like be like, yeah.
Rein it in.
I don't say a lot of stuff when I'm fucking.
Okay.
But what do you say when you do say something though? You say you don't say a lot of stuff, but
I'm like, get out of here, kids.
Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah. Don't come in here right now. Don't come in here right now. That's what I say.
Not like this.
Yeah, not like this. Yeah.
I have to go to work.
Oh yeah, Jess has to go to work. Did you take your meds? Let's do the rest really quick.
Yes, I took my meds.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, Jess has to go to work.
I have to go to work.
Me and Trey have to go
abruptly. Yeah, you guys have. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly now. I am on to go sit at work, and then I'm going to be at Tony B's tonight.
That's a long pull up there to Everett.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a phone call later and check in.
Cool.
And yeah.
It'll be fine.
That's it. This has been the Tarp Report with Sam and Jess.
Yeah.
And
Covers
Trey.
everything.
Give it engineer Trey Caldwell. Good job, Trey. Make that applause noise.
oh fuck! I pressed the wrong one.
No, that's it. That's it.